History Channel. Any History Channel buffs in the room? Few? Well, if you're like me, you used to watch History Channel because you were a history nerd. And History Channel became about the Duck Dynasties and other reality shows of the world. Well, they realized that the folks like us were still out there and they could be appealed to. So they launched another channel, H2. Hey, this is where the history moved to. It's not the History Channel anymore, it's now H2. Well, they were looking for help in driving traffic to that area. Again, no marketing budget. They were going to run the spots on their own networks to create some affinity, and we had a few places externally that we could capture attention. So one of the psychological principles that we decided to exploit was engagement. Now, all of us have experienced this at some point. If you are on Facebook, and I imagine in a room full of marketers, all of us are, you've engaged or used engagement before. If you click the like button on a company, the likelihood of you doing business with that company goes up 74%. Why? Because you've engaged with them and you have said, I'm a fan. So now you have a self-fulfilling prophecy. So what we're trying to do is to get people to engage. And engage is not just mental engagement, because mental engagement doesn't carry a tremendous amount of weight unless I can connect with you emotionally. If I can get you to physically do something, verbally, tactile, or through another sense, the likelihood of you remembering it and acting on it goes through the roof. So that was what we were trying to exploit in this case. I want to share with you some of both the emotional drivers as well as some of the tactile pieces that we engaged. Here are a few pre-roll things that you might have seen running on the network promoting H2. Now you can see some of what we're trying to get at. The same thing we all employ as marketers. We're trying to be disruptive, unexpected, get either a sense of delight or a sense of, in some cases, ugh. Doesn't matter. As long as I can engage with you in some level emotionally, it dramatically increases the likelihood of recall. But we also wanted to find ways to engage with folks. So we did a few things that were unique, trying to find things that people could relate and share, enter into conversation. For every piece of history, there is a piece of pop culture that we could relate to get into that conversation. There were lots of these. One of my favorites, I didn't actually put this in here, had to do with 50 Cent. Said 50 Cent's been complaining for the last 7 years about the time he was shot. Grover Cleveland was shot on stage and insisted on finishing his speech before he left. Great little tidbit that people love to share, promoting the network. Engagement. We also wanted to do some things in other media outlets to draw some attention. So we did do-it-yourself beauty aids using pieces from history about how Cleopatra used crushed up beetles for eye shade and some other tips along those lines promoting history. High engagement piece was a number of games online. If you've been on Facebook at all, you're probably long since weary of the what character from the TV show, whatever, are you? Everybody? Yeah? That's what they're doing. They're trying to get people to engage and then admit that I am a fan of this, so that that person who did that went from being a viewer to a loyal, outspoken viewer. We did something similar through Facebook as well. Horrible bosses throughout history, and how bad is your boss? Does he achieve Julius Caesar level, or was he merely Genghis Khan? And through a series of questions that then got posted on your page. And Facebook is one of the best places for the principle of engagement. A few other places that we were able to target our folks were within bars, heavily male demos, so a lot of drink coasters with tips and trivia, trying to engage people with facts to draw them in, to remind people why the network was there. And then this was an environmental piece that you could only do in New York. They did these as a giveaway, again, very heavily male demo, very disruptive. Got huge buzz in the social media space. The upshot was huge. Major, major, major launch for the History Channel. Their numbers were through the roof. They effectively moved over nearly their entire history buff audience, like me, over to their new channel. They're thrilled with the results, taking advantage of some of those emotional connections and the sense of engagement.